Hello, hello. I hope everybody's having a good day. Think about... Okay, cool. We'll worry about that in a second. Nice. Alright, let me get into this previewer here. Think about now. Nice. Alright, let me see. We were on page 151. There we go. Great. And then we got our thing ready to go. Okay, hold on. I'm going to grab a drink really fast. 1 second. Ow, my leg. Okay. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Okay. All right. It's kind of early. I'll wait to actually start the sprint to see if people will come in here. Longer-ish sprint right to start. Hi, Shibito. How you do? What's going on? I'm going to reply to this work email really fast. Doing good. Just thinking about streaming after my interview. Very nice. Hey, I hope you have a super good interview, though. Before I have to be into work at 5:30. Okay, not bad. Not bad, though. Sounds like you got stuff to do today, but it's not like a hella busy day. You know what I'm saying? Could be like, it could be worse. Let's see. I need to get new speakers, and I need to get new headphones, probably. Like, hardcore bad. Everything I own is ancient. Oh my god, if I could type. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing writing sprints, which is actually great for productivity. So if you want to like lurk, hang out, do all of that stuff. So effectively the way that works is I rolled some dice. So I rolled some dice. We got 21 minutes. And then effectively we're going to just get started on like working on whatever we want to work on during those 21 minutes. And it's just like time for everybody to be productive. What does this button do? I don't know. Oh. Ooh. That's what it does. Hi, Cal. How are you today? It's the best version of Atari, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's true. It's Atari in his natural state. You missed last night, Cal. We found a guy in Date Everything who gives off mad Atari vibes. Like, hard. Ironically, the person is also the television. Okay. Cool, let me read this email really quick. I wish I could have been there. That's okay. If you want to go look at it and all of the tomfoolery that happened, effectively, Jason, I broke the game. That was pretty much what happened. We can fix it, but, like, it seems like there's, like, a logic error in the game. They might patch it out. We'll see. It's, like, the first, like... I don't know if I'd call it a bug. I would call it a bug. It's, like, the first bug that I think I've come across there. But otherwise, the VOD is up on YouTube if you want to, like, pop it on and just listen to us be stupid for a couple hours. Oh wow, that would have been a bad typo. Good God. This is why we read it again. Okay, there we go. Great. Logic error. Well, it's more like, effectively what happens, if you're trying to get the washer and dryer back together, effectively what happens is that you need to speak to them in a very specific order. Otherwise, they get caught in a feedback loop where you unlock the friendship path for each of them, and then they never end up talking to each other. And so unless you do it literally exactly in a very specific way, which they never ever tell you how to do, you get locked out of that entire dialogue, which sucks. So that, to me, it's like that's a bug, if that makes sense. So I don't know if they'll end up patching that out. I hope so. But effectively what Jason and I have to do is we have to use the, like, redo candy that you can get in this game to redo the relationship with both Drysdale and Washford, and then just look at a guide and do it in the exact correct order, because apparently literally everybody on the planet is having this problem. Oh, damn, I wish that, like, an artist that actually had a bunch of money... I can only hope that this isn't AI, but part of me feels like This might be. I wish that a big artist like Sam Tinez wouldn't fucking use AI for their album art, but you know. Hi, Jace.
Hi. I was wondering, do you want honey on your yogurt and granola because it has like cinnamon in the honey?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Just
Just
wanted
a
to
little
make sure,
bit. Just a little bit. Okay, well, on that note, let's go ahead and get started on our first sprint for the day. It's going to be a 21-minute sprint. I'm going to be working more on appetite, so as always, if you're choosing to watch me work, this does have body horror, it has gore, it has violence, it has drug use. So watch at your own discretion. If that's something that you're not interested in, feel free to please, look elsewhere. Otherwise, let's work for 21 minutes, see what kind of cool stuff we can get going. Let me know what you're working on in the comments and or in the chat, and then yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Here we go. Okay, not to jump scare anybody, but I recognize I've gone into sprint, but I feel like everybody needs to see this dancing totem man, just to be very clear. I'm going to leave this on stream for like 2 seconds, but please enjoy this little guy. All right. That's it. How did everybody do? Also, good luck on your interview, Shibito. I wrote 915 words. I am having to expand a lot of dialogue because this section is really, really weak. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm nervous because I'm already at like 45K. But I'm only under halfway through this book, so I don't want... What's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up having to get to the end of this and really pare it down for submitting to agents, guaranteed. Hi, Simon! How long have you been writing? Oh, gosh. Well, writing, like, as, like, a way to just be creative ever since I was little. But in terms of, like, actually publishing and, like, putting books out, I've published my first book when I was 17, so that would have been, like, 2011. But it was really, really bad. I don't consider my, like, first publishing foray really to be until, like, 2017, give or take. So, almost a decade. Professionally publishing, anyway. But writing for forever. Welcome on in. It's good to see you. Oh no. Oh, Cal, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, today we're working on... I'm actually rewriting something that I published a long time ago. And it needs a massive rehaul, like massive rework. And now that I know kind of what I'm looking for and what is actually good writing, haha, I need to rework this manuscript, and then I'm going to hopefully pitch this to agents. I've got a manuscript inquiry right now, and I'm not hearing anything back on it. Oh, it's the worst. But if that's the way it's gotta be, that's the way it's gotta be. It ain't fun, but it is. I have pitched 24 people and not heard anything, but that's pretty normal. But yeah, in these streams we just write, we work on our projects, we talk about our projects, so feel free to let us know what you're working on, or what you like to write, what you like to read. As far as what I'm reading right now, I'm reading Mary E. Roach's We Are the Match, which is actually fantastic. I'm not normally a fan of romance novels. I avoid them like the plague. I don't know. I just don't vibe. I don't vibe with them. But this one is a retelling of the Helen of Troy myth, and it is really, really, really good. It's a mob-themed one, and ironically, I just got back from Greece, so it's been kind of nice reading a Greek, something that's set in Greece. Overall, I'm like, oh, I was just there. That's silly. So, would recommend. It's very, very nice. But if you want to learn about me or more about my work, you can always check out my website, too. Oh, my buddy. Yeah, I gotta be very careful with this manuscript. I've got to really be careful with word count. I'm nervous. Scary. Yeah, I definitely love doing publishing. Like I got my master's in publishing for context, so I'm also a self-publishing consultant as well. So effectively, I'm working on my own stuff, but then I'm also teaching other people how to do this too, so that way everybody can have books out. You know, it's like I want people to be able to write and to have it be accessible, because for a long time when I was coming up, it just wasn't accessible. Nice. I read romance, fantasy. Very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I love fantasy. That's pretty much all I write, or that's all I have out right now is fantasy. But this one that we're working on today is like a soft sci-fi horror. And I have a sci-fi that's in query right now, but that's awesome. Romance is good, but it has to have a realistic development or else it's going to be cringy. I totally agree, though. 1,000%. Yeah, and that's the problem that I have when I run into a lot of them, is that they end up being kind of tropey is the word that I would use to describe that, where they rely a lot on the tropes that are already out there, and a lot of people don't really want to read for realistic or cool development, or for plot, really. They want to read for the trope, and so I just tend to not get in there for that reason, which is why I like this myth retelling, because it feels very... I don't know, the myth retelling itself is the focal point, and there is obviously some heavy romance going on here between Helen and Paris, because that's how the original myth went as well, but it doesn't feel forced, so I really love it. The book just came out on the 29th, and if you're looking for like a good mob, like dangerous love romance, this is one of the ones. This is the one. I do enjoy it. It's definitely better than the last romance that I read. I read last month a romance called She Came from the Swamp, and it was fine. It was like a Kikimora monster romance. It was okay. I was reading it for a challenge. For context, I do this reading challenge with my friend. She has this reading challenge that's absolutely insane, called the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. And I had to read 3 books in 24 hours, and so I read 3 novellas in 24 hours. And that was one of them. It was okay. I gave it a 4 because I recognized it had some cool, like, theme. And I'm sure people who like those kinds of romances would like them, but they spent so much time making out and having sex that I was like, okay, what is happening? Nope, that is not their account. You want this one. Actually, it actually might not even be that one. Hold on. It's that one. The most recent one. If you want to look at another really great writer, reader, streamer, you're looking for twitch.tv/QWERTYQ. That's the one you want. She's very cool. She also writes fantasy, too. Yeah, she's great. She has like a Spiffbo finalist novel, The Humane Society for Creatures and Cryptids, that is a very cool book. And then also a series about mythical birds and folklore. It's really cool. And a bunch of really good short stories, actually. All of her short stories are fantastic. But she's also a really prolific writer. She's got I think 10 short stories, an entire 4-book series with a prequel, and then Hisfakak. But she reads like crazy. She reads like hundreds of books a year. Like 300 to 400 books a year. It's nuts. She is a monster! But we love her. On that note, though, let's go ahead and jump back into some sprints. So feel free to work on literally anything you want, whether it's doodling, writing, reading, cleaning, anything that you feel like you need to do during this sprint. We're going to go for 22 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my mic off and just work for a second. Again, if you're going to read along with me, since we have some new people in here, if you're going to read along, I am working on something that has adult themes, and it is a lot of body horror and gore and violence and drug use. So, if that's not something that you're prepared to read today, that's totally okay, and you do not have to look at what I'm working on. So, Enjoy your work time. We'll be back in 22 minutes, and we'll see you soon. Alrighty. That's it. How did everybody do? I'm trying to figure out if this chapter is going to be too heckin' long. I don't know. My favorite one is about a genius of criminal psychology who the police only call to solve the most hideous and mysterious of crimes while getting to experience affection. Oh, for the first time. Oh, I see. Nowadays, I mostly read web novels. Very cool. They tend to put a lot of effort into world building, and I feel like every time I read one, my imagination expands tenfold. That's very cool. Yeah, I like novels like that too, where they really make you think. Giving my OC more tats, as it should be. As of right now, okay, so it's actually not so bad. This is okay. I gotta be very careful. I don't want to go any. Once I finish this chapter, I have to really. This one is probably going to be a chunky chapter for no reason, but that's okay. We're at a point in the story now where, for context, because Fawn our main character is working for a drug lord, a drug manufacturer for illegal drugs, and last night that they went out, they found this guy who, unfortunately, it looks like he OD'd on the drug, but then it effectively made him into the human equivalent of a naked mole rat, and he was just absolutely completely out of his own brain, and then killed one of the guys in the team because they were doing a private delivery. So everybody's already freaked out. And then, oh my god, the gospel version of this song. Bubba. Okay, hold on, I gotta go. But now they're trying to do just regular drug sales on the street, and this crazy person is now running up on them demanding drugs. So, the usual regular normal day. They're fine. I feel super bad for everybody involved in this situation. It's fine. So that's fun. It's always such hard shit to get through, but it's worth it. I love how somebody commented on one of my TikTok videos and their username is Rutroraggy. It's fine, you say, but it was not. No, this whole book is a sequence of. It was very much not fine. Absolutely not. Get out of here! Ban. Hold on. Oh my god, stop. Get out of here. Stupid bots. Get out of here, bots. Bots. There we go. Is the one you're writing published anywhere? No, this one is being rewritten. It probably won't be published for several years, because unfortunately the process is that I have to first finish the manuscript, which is easy for me. That's quick. But what I'm trying to do is a lot of my books here. Let me grab some stuff. Hold on. Oh, everything is behind me. I've been filming a lot of TikTok videos, so I can do this. So apologies for being in my pajamas, but hello, this is me. I have a lot of my books here. All of these are self-published though, so they were not produced through a traditional publisher in that sense, and I have a buttload of them. So obviously, do I have a problem? Yes, I have a massive problem. But all of these were published myself. I did all of the work. I'm the publisher. I'm the person who's doing all of the artwork and the formatting and the marketing and the printing and all of those things. So I'm trying to get out of that particular method and going in through a traditional publisher, which is how most books are published. But that process takes an insanely long time. You have to first send your book to an agent who will represent you, although I am going to do some research after I hit, I think, this 25 query mark for Fatal Mechanisms. I'm going to try and see if I can find any publishing houses that are looking for people without agented representation and submitting to them, seeing if I can get in there. And then once you do that, you have to wait for the agent to be able to shop your work to a publisher, which can take a year. And then when you do that, you have to wait for then the publisher to produce the book, which can then also take a year. So I've been self-publishing mostly because I can do it very quickly, and I have a lot of control over that. But yeah, it's a process. It's a long thing. Unless you're very famous, it takes a long time. So this one is not available right now. But as Lear put into the chat, the link to my website, which is tychodorian.com, where you can check out all of my books. Some of them are available for free to read on Wattpad, if you're familiar with that platform. King of Dust is on there, and Mirror Gaze is also on there, which both of those are fantasies. And then Court of Snakes 1 and 2 are currently on Wattpad temporarily, so that's like they're like dystopian fantasies. So they're for young adults, though. They're for a younger audience. So if you're interested in reading any of my stuff for free, that's the way to do it. Otherwise, all of my stuff is there, available for purchase too. But this one in particular, still a work in progress. I had a really cool cover for this one too, but I need to work on it again. Have you considered online publishing? So that's where Wattpad comes in. Online posting in general for a word contract. I don't know what a word contract is. I'm not familiar with that term. But yes, I have published online. My main goal as an author is to make money making or selling my work. So that's where I typically don't tend to just publish online for free, because I don't make money off of it. And also, too, there are a lot of issues with, unfortunately, people stealing work online. And so certain books I published online so that way I could win specific types of awards. So as I said, like King of Dust is available 100% online. You can read the entire thing for free. I also have on my Wattpad loads of different other titles as well, whether they're short stories or otherwise. So I do have a lot available for free. I just typically don't publish the full novels. A lot of them are samples, so that way people can check out my my work overall. And some of them, again, are like full novels. So Mirror Gaze, King of Dust, and then these ones are temporarily available. But a lot of them are short stories here. Like, I don't know where The Coward is. Poetry, short stories, etc. So, yeah, because I don't make money off of these at all, I tend to not release my work for free. Just because, one, copyright reasons, and then two, my goal is to make a living as an author, so releasing it online doesn't really do that for me, if that makes sense. But it's fun, and I like to be accessible as much as I can, but yeah, I'm planning on having a few novels, predominantly probably Mirror Gaze and King of Dust, be what I would call like my entry novels, where they're free to read. They will always be free to read. They'll always be online, but everything else needs to be purchased in either print or digital format, if that makes sense. But it's pretty fun. It takes a long time, but it's worth it. Yeah, there's about a million ways that you can really like publish your work. That's I think why I became a self-publishing consultant really, because there are so many different ways to do it that it can get really overwhelming for people, I think. Myself included. It's like, like I had an author ask me for an interview recently, another author, we did like a round table where it was like you know, why or like would you choose to do hybrid publishing at any point? But it's like for me, I don't really need to because I myself am a hybrid publisher, if that makes sense. So oh, what about my McDoon short stories? Oh yeah, those are technically on my website. I am planning on deleting those at some point and then reworking them because I think that those stories would be better used in a different format. But yeah, those are technically on my website and not on Wattpad. But yeah, give me just a second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to take a break and stretch, and then we'll start our next sprint. All right, I am back. To my knowledge, the most stable way to earn money online is to seek for a contract. For the web novel site, for example, the authors, if they have a novel people want to read, they can seek a contract in which the site, based on how many chapters you can write a month with a specific amount of minimum words each per chapter. Yes, so you're right. You're right. The downside is that the sites may hold rights to your novel. You are also right on that. There are alternative sites which allow you to hold full rights, but the money is lower. Yes, those are called, obviously, like royalty contracts, right? Yep, you're 100% right. So the main problem with that is that not everybody can just get a contract in that way. There are very few sites that will just allow you to just sign the contract just because you want to, and then you get the contract, if that makes sense. For example, I have been trying to pitch to Wattpad specifically to get one of those contracts probably for about almost a year, I would say, at this point. They have invited me into their inner circle community, so I'm a part of the Wattpad Creators Program, where you have the ability to pitch to their editors to pitch projects like that, if that makes sense. But each website is going to have very specific requirements for what they do or do not accept, and you typically have to go through a pitching process in order to do that. So for me, for example, I have to come up with an idea for a story. I then have to pitch it to their team if they are open for submissions. So for example, Wattpad right now is not open for submissions. Then at that point, I have to take any edits that they have, and if they give edits back to me, then I have to implement those edits. Then the story has to go up and past the editor into their acquisitions team. And this is where I've been stopped like twice. So my novel is good enough to get it past the editors. It makes it through the first process, the first approval process here. And then the acquisitions people have to figure out whether or not they want to buy it. So in other words, these are the guys who are going to decide whether or not the book will sell on their website. If the answer is yes, then that's the ideal scenario. They pay you what is called an advance, which is where you get a flat fee right out the gate to be able to sell the stuff, which is great. So you get paid a flat sum of money, which is really, really good. And then on top of that, you get that contract, like you're saying, where they have specific rights. I believe that for like the site that I'm going through, they own your book for a year after it is finished being written and published. So that's actually not really that bad at all. And you also are getting paid every time somebody purchases a chapter of your novel or whatever the case may be for that particular website. That's how Wattpad works. But you're right. They do own the rights to the novel for a specific period of time. Each company is different, which is why you need to read the contracts. But getting the contracts, unfortunately, is not really very easy. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people vying for these types of contracts. And you have to find, the right website that's going to offer you contracts in a way that doesn't steal your work, because there are a lot of websites out there that will steal your rights and they will take the rights to the story forever. You have to be very, very, very cautious if you're going to do that way. So it really depends on the website. But also, too, sometimes the royalties are just not fair. So people will ask you to write a specific length of novel, and then they don't pay you anything. Most of the payments where you're seeing people earn $10K a month, that is the highest earning possible. A lot of the times people are not earning that much. And you can get really, really lucky. If you write something that goes viral and is very, very popular, they'll pay you more. That's typically the way that works, whether they're working on a pay per chapter or purchase per chapter model. But most authors are not making that. They most likely are making around $1,000 USD or maybe less. The advance is going to be the highest amount of money that you earn. And again, if your novel is not popular, they will not renew your contract. So that's kind of the catch there, is that there's no guarantee that you're going to make $10,000 a month. And unfortunately, if any company ever approaches you and says, hey, you're going to make $10,000 a month if you sign with us, they're lying. That's probably a tactic for them to just steal your work. So be very careful with those if you do decide that you're going to go down that route, because that is scary. That can be really, really scary. But traditional publishing functions kind of in a similar way. I have one of my short stories traditionally published. They have very similar contracts where they paid me a specific amount of royalties. I did not get an advance for my short story, and then they own it for 7 years. It's a very long contract period, actually. So I have to contact them and end the contract once that time is done. So yeah, it really depends on which site you go through, how you're doing it. But yeah, getting into the game is definitely not nearly as simple as people make it out to seem. Unfortunately, you don't just like go to the website and say, hey, I have this thing, here you go, pay me. You have to typically prove your worth to them through a lot of different steps in order to get there, if that makes sense. So, that being said, right now Wattpad submissions are closed, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop submitting to them. They are very close to reopening submissions, and I'm going to go back in. And also, each website has their own publishing genre as well. Like Wattpad, for example, is romance only. So I have to reframe myself entirely and write only romance if I want to get published with them. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot to consider, and the contracts tend to be very complex. The process to get into the sites are very complex as well. But to be honest, like, the realistic thing to keep in mind when you're talking about writing and making money is that 80% of all books published are 80% of all books published lose money. And this is including big publishers. So we're talking like HarperCollins, Scholastic, Macmillan, Penguin Random House. 80% of all books, period, lose money. And the reason is because people just don't read. It's very difficult to get people to read. And there's a bunch of other factors that cause that as well. The author just doesn't do as well as you think that they do. The publisher is taking a gamble, technically. That's kind of how that works. And so it's very easy to lose money in that way. So if anybody ever tells you when you're going to publish a novel that they're going to make you a bazillionaire, that's probably a lie, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that you can't make money. You're just going to make significantly less than they tell you, if that makes sense. Hi, $, welcome in. Yeah, seriously, write romance. It's really pretty cool. And honestly, Wattpad is a good platform for doing that. My advice is if you want to get into writing anything, figure out where you can submit your work to contests for free. So like, for example, I love the Waddies on Wattpad because they're free to enter. Wattpad is a romance-focused website, so if you like writing romance, if you like writing that genre, that's a great place to go. Submit your work. And then if it gets popular enough, you can get invited, like I did, into their creators program. And you just have to meet their minimum requirements in order to continue to be there, which means you have to keep uploading stuff to their platform consistently. And then once you're in there, you have the chance to be able to pitch. But yes, you're totally right, Simon. Most sources don't share this type of info, and it's mostly because people don't make as much money as they say. Like you can really get lucky. Like you can get an author who does do really, really, really well. But a lot of the times, too, these contracts have what is called an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. I just signed one, for example, because I'm going to be potentially working with a studio. I'm going to be doing an assessment anyway to be writing for some of their online shorts for their like platform, but I effectively am not allowed to talk at all about what I receive. And that NDA may be for forever, or it may be for a period of several years. And so unfortunately you just can't talk about it, which makes it really difficult for people signing into those kinds of contracts, if that makes sense. It's a unicorn! It's a unicorn tattoo! This looks really nice, though. Thank you for sharing your work, Lear. This looks great. This looks really, really good. I'm more of a sci-fi guy. I've been using Coverfly and other sources. I have a series I've been working on, so I haven't dabbled. Yeah, well, and see, yeah, totally $. And for me, I run into the same issue where I'm more of a fantasy. I'm a speculative fiction person myself, so that's going to be fantasy, sci-fi, horror. So trying to get into Wattpad has been really rough because so far the 2 pitches that I've submitted to them that have made it up through the ranks and they went to acquisitions, they decided just overall that my stuff is not romance heavy enough. And so now if I pitch to them again, I have to like really just like delete any other kind of influence out of my brain and only write romance, try and really just like hone into those tropes and hone into just what the American romance audience wants, which is kind of a bummer for me, but also if you want to make money, it's like kind of one of those things where you're just like, okay, I gotta write what the people want me to write sometimes and not necessarily what I want to write, which is rough. But a lot of people are not very honest, I think, about their their royalties and things like that because it's embarrassing for a lot of people, I think. Like, for example, I just heard one of my author friends, and this is definitely no shade to her at all. She's been working her ass off to sell books and things like that, but she's in Scotland. She sold about 600 copies of her book, and after all of the royalties, the agreements with the publisher, the fees, all of those things get taken out, she sold technically almost like $2,200 worth of books, or almost $2,300 or Great British pounds, I guess, in books, and what she ended up actually getting paid was 680 Great British pounds. So that's the actual amount of money that she made, which is like nothing in comparison. Versus for me, because I self-publish all of my books, I sold 160 books last year, so a sixth of what she sold, and I made $820 last year for my royalties. You know, so for me, that becomes more worth it because it's like, okay, I'm in control of my own money, and like I don't have to give all of this money to a publisher that takes, because like if I had been traditionally published or even hybrid published, then I would have made it out with probably like $80. I'm not even joking. Like that's how the math would have shaken out. You know, so there's many avenues of like making money. You just have to be able to recognize that like you are guaranteed not going to be making a full-time income on this for several decades maybe, but stick with it. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like, you know, don't stick with it. It just takes a lot of strategizing, you know, and trying a bunch of different things until one thing sticks, if that makes sense. But yeah, we're in here working on sprints. I'm working on a sci-fi, soft sci-fi horror fairy tale retelling, which is really, really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and jump us back into a sprint. We're going to be working for about 17 minutes. So if you want to hang around, we're going to just be kind of chilling, working on stuff. So if you want to write, if you want to read, if you want to draw, all of that other good stuff. But yeah, if you want to pop any questions into the chat that I can answer when we come back out of this sprint, we can do that. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Simon. I appreciate that a lot. It's 2 a.m., so I'll be going to sleep. Have a nice sleep. Thank you so much for that follow, and it was great chatting with you. Thank you for coming in. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this next sprint, so let's get to work, and I will see you all in 17 minutes. All right, that's it. How did everybody do? Hi, Riddle. How are you? I hope you're having fun drawing. Also, hi, Aqua. Thank you for that hydrate. Everybody drink some stuff. I'm drinking the last remnants of a cotton candy energy drink that I have spanned over the course of... I've stretched it over the course of like 8 days. Also, everybody sit up straight and stretch. We got a self-care combo. How are y'all doing? I finished up this chapter, which is now a hilarious length. It's a long-ass chapter, but, like... I feel like there was no real good way to break this up. That means today, so far, I have written 2,497 words. Doing alright. Ah, Cheeto Puffs sound like fucking elite right now. Holy shit. That sounds so good, though. I love myself some Cheeto Puffs, though. Get this fucking... Why? I have some fucking cat hair in my throat or something. Okay, great. Wunderbar. I'm weird and I like the oily ones at the bottom of the bag. I will eat them like a goblin. I will just... I will inhale them. Dangerous.
It's ruthless.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm selling Pokemon cards. Surprise, surprise. Crazy. Bye, Aqua. It was good seeing you. Okay, so effectively where I'm at in this manuscript is that crazy lady tried to kill them, and so now this is the second person 2 nights in a row who has looked like a naked mole rat. This lady just straight up exploded. So now everybody's trying to figure out is this drug related? Or is this a disease or what? Because spontaneous human combustion is never good. She literally just spontaneously exploded. I actually just watched an episode of Watcher of not Ghost Files, of Mystery Files, where they went over spontaneous human combustion. This is not that, but I had to figure out the physics of actually being able to damn, this lady is like has a really powerful voice. This is cool. But yeah, so, you know, I had to figure out the physics of having somebody's head explode. Oh, interesting. So, hey, fun fact, an interesting story. This piece was made by AI. With AI. I shouldn't say by AI. But this is made with AI. And this is where things start to get really tricky. So this is actually somebody singing. So it's not to say that the singer is not real. Because somebody did sing this at some point, but they used AI to master this entire thing. Interesting. Yeah, it's going to get really crazy where we decide to draw the line with this kind of stuff. Because it's like, if you have a real physical human singer, a physical person who is mastering the thing using AI as the tools, a physical person who is using samples to make the backtrack, and then they're using AI to do the final master. Is this made by AI or is this made by a person? That's the question. That's the question. We're entering a weird time, because I would still say that this was made by a human. Interesting. Yeah, because this guy can't play instruments at all. But very clearly he has a very strong musical vision, so he can hear it. He just doesn't have the physical instruments to play. But I remember there was a quote in a Skrillex song at some point, and he sampled a critic of EDM, and the critic said they are not artists because nobody can play the guitar. But I'm like, if that guy understands music theory and is using electronic software and AI, but electronic software mostly to produce this music, is it AI? We're getting into a weird place, guys. I don't have time for these philosophical ass fucking questions. I don't need this shit in my life. I'm just gonna keep writing my stupid head explosion people and then just fucking deal, I guess. I don't know. This is about to be the shortest sprint of all time, everyone. I rolled not the lowest humanly possible, but I rolled so low. A 6-minute sprint is like literally nothing. So, effectively, I'm just going to go for this one. We're just going to scream and just go for 6 minutes. So, I'm going to do this really fast. So, I'll see you in 6 minutes. Let's go. Alright, well that was the shortest sprint of all time. I spent most of it doing math. It's a lot of math. Everything's fine. I was looking at some art on Furfinity. Oh, snap. I had to do math to figure out how much, based on my new calculations, how much Mutolfon takes. So, that's fine. What do I have on my docket today? I have a meeting. I have to film cosplay content after this for my fucking social medias. I will become a fucking famous person, damn it. I'll get there. We got another micro sprint. That's what I just rolled just now. How many drugs? Yeah, true. Not very much. The shit is like highly concentrated. It's like dabbing. I feel like I'm learning so much about illicit drugs. I'm pretty sure the FBI is gonna fucking come for me. It's like a combination of this and then the side project that I'm working on, writing like stuff for Nathan. Legitimately, the FBI is gonna come to my house. I feel like I'm Walter Whiting over here. It's not good. So many. I don't know what's going on. Oh, now I want Cheetos so bad. You really did me a dirty. I'm gonna go to the store and get Cheetos. Wants Cheetos for the Yep, I do. I will eat that Cheetle. I'm gonna put it on my grocery list, no joke. I'm gonna put it on my list as Cheetle. Oh, this bops. Alright. That was like the world's shortest sprint of all time. I didn't even really do much. I would love to get paid $525 in just one stint, though. That'd be pretty fucking sweet. God, that means the Silas is just like rolling in it. I need to actually do some math really quick to figure out if that's realistic. Hold on. Time to do more math. This shit's expensive. Because that means that Fawn is getting, like... He could have been paid more. I think that this needs to be reduced, though. I'm gonna... I'm gonna say fairly. There we go. That's more realistic. That's better. Just gotta redo some math. Still, 180 bucks is pretty good. Not very good for having to deal with somebody running at you and then exploding, but at least pretty good. Alright, well, I guess let's start this next micro sprint. This baby sprint. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this one. Here we go! Alright, we did it. How did everybody do? In that 8 minutes, I wrote 482 words. I'm just trying to make it happen. I just want to live. This is the quietest remix of this song. Oh, it's an orchestra cover. Huh. I went to the bathroom. Very nice. That's a normal human thing to do. It's a fun orchestral cover, but I'm not necessarily super enchanted by it. Wow, these sprints are all really small. This one's not so bad. This one's at least 14, but dang. But that's fine. I'm gonna see what I can do in this last sprint and just go for it. I may be bad, but I'm perfectly good at it. Sex in the air, you love it. Well, oh, Rihanna. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Yep. Fawn's going on a date. He went from exploding an exploding head to going on a date. That's gotta be fun. Hooray? Honestly, I'm just going to jump right into this final sprint if everybody's chill with that. And then probably call it for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and yeet us in here. And then we will reconvene after this point. So good luck with this last sprint. Let's see if we can finish out strong. And then I'll see you all in just a bit. Here we go. All right. All done. What a fucking nightmare. This poor kid. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. He's like, explain polycule to me. She's like, oh, we don't have to worry about that right now. Never mind. I realize that you are really dumb and confused. Fawn is just kind of dying. Yeah, I feel like this girl likes him, but she is definitely like a fucking pansexual force of nature, pro-polycule, like free spirit, pro-swinging. She's just like friends with benefits. She doesn't care. She like legitimately does not give a shit. And Fawn is like, what's happening? I've only known like 4 people my whole life. Like he couldn't even legitimately date in the town that he's from because there were like 1,000 people in it. And like most of those people were old people. And so... he's like, I have never been around another person in my whole fucking life. I'm so confused. And she's like, oh. I'm giving this kid a heart attack. I'm sorry. Hey, Olivia, how's it going? How's it going? Welcome in. We just finished a sprint we were working on in stream, or at least I was working on in stream today, a soft sci-fi horror. Fairy tale retelling. He didn't know enough people to date. Exactly. Like, legitimately, there was no way for him to do that. And so this girl is, like, literally, it's like being run over. I'm pretty sure he's having a heart attack. Let's see. How many words did I write today? Where am I? This. Today I wrote 3,902 words. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Let me mark that down on my little sheet. I have to try and figure out how to make this dialogue a little bit more natural. I'll get there. Let's see. Today is August. Today is the 5th. And then I wrote... Oh, I didn't even think about how much I wrote just then. That's fine, that's fine. Let me try this again. Everything is chill. A lot of this is going to start to get into the nitty-gritty here, where it's going to be a lot of rough reworking, but that's fine. That's kind of what I expect, truly. Now that's all right. So, do you like to write, Olivia? What's your pleasure? Do you like to do art, reading, writing? We do a little bit of everything in here. Actually, a little too far. Hold on. A freelance artist with experience in 2D, 3D modeling. Hell yeah! Character art and webcomics. That's amazing. Yeah, typically I don't tend to like hire people in stream because I myself am a visual development artist as well as an author. But 3D modeling, that's very, very cool. Yeah, I don't typically let people promote their services in here just because it can be kind of awkward. But that being said, though, if you ever want to share your projects, you know, anything that you want to share creatively, you're more than welcome to do so. I have a self-promo channel in my Discord, but inside the streams, we tend to focus more on what we're working on from like a personal standpoint rather than like promotional stuff, if that makes sense. There it is. 3,902. Oh, whoops. Actually, I gotta do math. 5584. So I've written 5,584 words this month. Last month I did crazy. Last month I wrote a total of 24,000 words in 1 month, which is fucking nutso. So that was crazy. Yeah, that was a lot. Well, and honestly, like the fact that this novel is a lot of me going over what I had previously written and fixing it makes this a lot easier. And a lot of what needs to be added or changed is just dialogue. So that makes that really, really fast. So it's not so bad. It's just going through and like cleaning up segments like this, because like this original section was like not that great, and I still have to read over everything again and make sure it doesn't sound like poop. But you know, that's kind of something that'll happen as I move through this draft. My goal with this thing is to have it be done. I might need to rework my publishing schedules, to be honest. But my goal with this is to have this thing, the draft, done by the 18th of December, so I still have plenty of time. But then I need to go in and redo my task list to include things like pitching to agents, you know, things like that. Because with like Fatal Mechanisms, I'm supposed to finish my final manuscript edits by August, which I did. And then move into actual editing, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So I have to like really rework all of my schedules and figure out what's going on. But yeah, we will see how that goes. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I have to go eat lunch and film cosplay content, which means I need to actually like get in the shower. I'm probably gonna wait to do that and figure that out. So I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow to work on Heaven's Equal for comics. And tonight I might be playing games. Also, yeah, welcome to the Discord, Olivia. I'll give you directions on how to get into the rest of the server and where to go for all of that stuff. If you have any questions about where to post stuff in there, we got quite a few channels, so let me know. But I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. And I'm back to say bye. Cool. See you later, Aqua. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow, or maybe Jason and I will play some games again tonight, so not sure. But we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.